All right, you guys, podcast time. We got the equipment and the perfect business plan. Give our show away for free and tell no one how to find it. Ready?
Welcome back to episode 80 of the Brand X podcast. I am one of your hosts, John. Alongside me, my co-host, Deuce.
Como esta, bitches?
And say it's not so, the Eagles are on their way to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
now,
so?
Oh, I know. And I got to tell you, they are doing everything in the world that they can do to jinx this team. Do you know that Sports Illustrated just put Nick Foles on the cover of the magazine?
Oh, so they're embracing their curse.
I can't believe this. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on. Why not put Tom Brady on there?
Well, fortunately, you have 2 weeks in between, so the next cover might negate it.
You think? Yeah. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Because if you go to Wikipedia and you type in Sports Illustrated cover curse, it's amazing. Like they put Tiger Woods on there, and as soon as they had him on the cover, all that crap happened to him. The infidelity, the
getting hit in the head with a
golf club, the wreck in the car, the hurt in his knee. He's never been right after that.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, they put him on the cover in September for the beginning of the season. First game, he tears his ACL, MCL out for the season. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It happened with a few baseball matchups too, like during the World Series, and years and years and years.
They put the Cubs and the Red Sox on the cover, split cover of Sports Illustrated. Both teams had crazy collapse. That was the year that Bartman hit the foul ball, and then they lost the game, and then they lost Game 7.
Right.
So that was the year of that they had him on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I'm like, please, one time, before I die, can we have a parade down Broad Street? Can we have...
Well, we had two. But unfortunately, they were for the Phillies, so...
That's true. We had two for the Flyers and one for the Sixers. But we have not had one for the Eagles. The time that the Eagles...
Not since 1960, anyway.
Right, before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an old man. So, and then they had the game where Minnesota, the last game, Minnesota played here. And all these people from Minnesota flew over for the game. They flew in for the game.
Mm-hmm. And
they went to the Art Museum steps. And they took Rocky, and they put a skirt on Rocky,
mm-hmm.
number 14, and the yellow scarf on his shoulders. Dressed them up, and then they did their cheer on the Art Museum steps.
Well, just a point of disclosure, the Rocky statue is no longer at the top of the Art Museum.
It's to the side, right?
It's at the bottom on the circle.
You're right. Yeah. Yes.
Because I always had to ferry tourists over there when I was my last job, and they always wanted to see the statue.
Right.
Where are you going? Over here. There's the statue. Covered by the trees? Yeah, you'll see it. But I thought it was at the top of the... No, that was just for the movie.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then they moved the statue to the Spectrum. And then when they tore the Spectrum down, then they moved it... Or, no, it was the Vet.
Right.
It was either the Vet or the Spectrum.
That was in front of the Spectrum.
Yeah, and then they moved it to the bottom of the steps, to the right, covered by woods.
Right. So they're in the Super Bowl. So their fans were there, and as their fans were walking, through the parking lot to get into the stadium... The Eagles had been drinking the Eagles fans had been in the parking lot tailgating since 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like 5 o'clock right before the game. They're trying to walk in. They're throwing beer cans at them. They're yelling. They're shooting them the finger. They're screaming. They're booing. And I'm like, you know what? I don't mind the booing as they walk by. That's fine. I don't mind yelling and screaming. All right. Throwing the beer cans, not empty ones, full beer cans. They're throwing at these people.
I take it that those people were just very thirsty, and the Eagles fans wanted to help slack their thirst by tossing them
a nice
liquid
cold
beverages.
Nice cold beer. Hey, welcome to Philadelphia. See, that's the problem.
Have a beer.
The press and everybody are taking this the wrong way. We were not throwing full beer cans at them. We were offering them a free beer.
Right.
I mean, how more hospitable can you be?
Yeah. That's what the Democrats do. They always put their spin on it.
Oh, my God. That's another story for a little bit later on. I just want to read a couple stories because it is crazy how the press has a story, which isn't a story, until they put their spin on it. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing.
They make the news. They
don't
report the news. They make the news.
Exactly. They do make the news.
But I saw one of those videos, and people are just pile driving on the Philly fans. And, that Philadelphia, that goes on in every city, especially northeastern cities, because if you went to Yankee Stadium wearing Boston Red Sox attire, that you are not going to get grief. If you wear anything other than pinstripes in that stadium,
They put a guy in a coma in Los Angeles because maybe it was a Giants fan went to Dodger Stadium. Mm-hmm. They beat the guy into a coma. So don't tell me this doesn't go on any other place.
Yeah, there was something that happened in St. Louis a few years ago too. I forget what the venue was, whether it was baseball or was it the Rams but there was an incident there. But the press likes to pile on Philadelphia. It's always been that way since the Santa Claus incident.
And that was what? I forget how many years ago.
1968.
So long ago that the Santa that they threw snowballs is dead.
Yeah. You know why they did that, don't you?
He was drunk. He came out drunk.
Well, my uncle was there and at that game, and some other people, and that the family knew. And basically, first of all, the Eagles were not having a very good season that year. It was either 68 or 69.
They sucked.
They were losing horrifically. And then they had the temerity to put a half-assed drunken Santa Claus out there. And the reason they were booing the Santa Claus was because he was ossified. He looked like an Ethiopian Santa Claus because he was like so thin.
Right.
He was like emaciated. And the costume that he had him wearing was all like threadbare and dirty and had like black. It was like
he looked like Bad Santa.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was like, and so needless to say, they saw that and they're like, what the hell kind of a Santa Claus? That's why the fans were upset. They weren't booing Christmas or the concept of Santa Claus. They were just booing the bad execution by the Eagles organization to put this up.
Yeah, hiring a drunk.
And back then, I guess they played at Franklin Field back then because the vet didn't open until 70.
70, 71, you're right.
Yeah, so, I mean, so they had a real up-close. That's a great field to watch a football game if you've never been there.
Franklin Field?
Yeah, it's very intimate.
Yes.
So those cameras were right on it. So, and ever since that, it's like, school's out on Phillies.
Right.
Philadelphia fans.
I hear you. All right, so do you know who else won big on Sunday besides the Eagles?
Well, Tom Brady.
Okay. But I'm leading you down a path. You don't know the answer to this. Okay. You'll never guess the answer to this, so I'll just tell you. Not only did the Eagles win big on Sunday, but so did white privilege.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about this, but
so
go ahead.
Some jagoff in Philadelphia Magazine wrote an article. When so many are chanting, "Fly, Eagles, fly," I am reminded of the double standard around these celebrations. Let's just get this out of the way. The Eagles, once pegged as the underdogs, are going to the Super Bowl. I might cared 2 years ago before it began to look like the National Football League was conspiring against black players for speaking out about racial injustice. But with former San Francisco 49 player Colin Kaepernick still unassigned as a free agent, I've boycotted the NFL games in solidarity. Yes, I do believe that politics and sports intertwine in a society where athletes take a knee and our president calls them a son of a bitch for it. I refuse to indulge in the sudden amnesia that is going around now that Philadelphia has a shot at the championship. I also won't ignore the apparent sellouts among us who have helped secure such a victory. So what this guy's saying is now, because Philadelphia's in there, and Philadelphia's normally a white town, not only did the Eagles win, but white privilege wins too.
Is that the whole article? Because that's what you read into that?
What did you read into it? Am I wrong?
Well, I don't really think.
Oh, here you go. It's in there.
I'm thinking the Colin Kaepernick thing, but he really didn't say anything about white privilege. And by the way, I think Philadelphia is pretty evenly split demographically between white and black.
So when many are chanting, "Fly, Eagles, fly," I am reminded of the double standard around these celebrations. Crowds of white people in all of their unapologetic privilege got publicly drunk, set fires, scaled traffic poles, and disrespected city monuments on Sunday night. And everyone cheered them on. It's a Philly thing, I heard down at my news feed, as people relished in the team's victory. There have been reports of violence before the game even started. And based on press conferences last week, the police weren't planning to stop any of the antics, but merely manage them. In fact, the department seemed to think that it was all a bit of a joke. Then they started talking about how the Philadelphia city management people were out with Crisco. They were Crisco in the poles, so they couldn't climb them.
Right.
And Philly people are like, yeah, Crisco, huh? Hold my beer. But this happens in every city.
Yeah.
When the Bulls won the NBA championship, they were turning cars over and setting them on fire.
Yeah. And that happens when the Sixers won in '83. That didn't happen. That's a relatively new thing. Yeah,
and
none of that shit happened when we were younger.
And 2008, when the Phillies won the World Series, they had a parade down Broad Street, and there was nothing set on fire, and they didn't set anything on fire that night, the night that it happened. Mm-hmm. They went out in the streets. Yeah, they were out in the streets and walking up and down the streets and stuff like that.
The reason they grease the poles up, I think several cities do that, is because if you get a ton of they get up so many people up on those poles, the poles bend over and come down, and they cost a fortune to replace.
Well, forget about that. In Chicago, the guy climbs up the light pole. He's standing on top of the light. I mean, the traffic light. It's the one that like stands at a base on the ground. So he's up about, 20 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
And he decides to fall backwards. Like he did one of those.
Like in a mosh pit?
Yeah, he decides to fall
that'll end well.
So he got hurt. Or, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I know he got hurt, and he probably hurt people too, because the whole place was packed with people. So, I mean, that's what they're trying to do, is stop that drunkenness and all that
once
nonsense.
You have alcohol involved in anything, it's always great.
Right, but I'm just saying.
That's what it all is.
They're making such a big deal about how Philadelphia's. And you know what I say? Guess what? I'm for this, because I don't want like Minnesota coming to our town and, or other. I want other fan bases to just stay away from Philadelphia. Don't come here. Don't come here with your stupid Vikings jersey.
So suppose you moved out of this area.
Yes.
And now you live in Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
Now you're not allowed back to watch a game.
Where?
You.
Here?
Yeah.
No, you're misunderstanding me. I'm an Eagles fan. If I come to Philadelphia, I'm going to go watch. I'm going to come in my Eagles green. I'm not going to wear a Seattle Seahawks jersey to the link. I'm not doing that.
So they have to come in incognito.
Yes. Right. Yes. That's what they need to do.
You're too much.
We're getting ass whooping. What do you want from me? I'm not.
So you're condoning the ass whooping?
No, I'm not. I'm not condoning it, but I understand it.
Oh, okay.
So, in other words,
that's a
see.
That's a.
I don't like the fact. I don't like the fact when people from New York come down here for the games, or from Washington come up for the games. I don't like the fact that there's violence against the teams. I think you should be able to come in and watch the game and not be spit on, have things thrown at you, beaten up. I don't like that. Okay. I think you should be able to come in. But those cockroach Cowboy fans that are from this area that go and wear their Dallas Cowboy jerseys and everything at the stadium.
And they've never been to Texas?
They've never been to Texas. They've never been to
been
Delaware.
To a Dallas game.
Right. Right. Those guys.
In Dallas, I mean.
Right. They'll go to the Dallas games in New York, or maybe the Dallas games in Washington. They're cockroach Dallas Cowboy. They're what do they call them? Antagonists?
Antagonistic or antagonists?
Yeah, there we go. That's what they are. They can get an ass whooping.
But Eagles fans go into another stadium wearing their Eagles green are not antagonists.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
So in other words, if you go to New York Stadium and you want to wear your Eagles green and stuff like that, you're taking your life into your hands. There's people up there who are serious. And now they did this to the Minnesota fans, that the press has made such a big deal of it. Minnesota's pissed. Now, Eagles fans should have thought of this before this all went down, because now they have to go to Minnesota. And now Minnesota's not in the game, but they're living there. So what they're doing now is they're trying to figure out how to screw with the Eagles fans when they come to Minnesota.
I saw something on a small blurb somewhere that a lot of the Eagles fans raise money and to make a contribution to Minnesota because they felt bad at what they saw on the news and, I guess on social media.
Again, it's a small smattering of chuckleheads here that do all the damage.
Well, and all the cameras are outside the stadium, and everyone's walking around with a camera.
Sure they are.
Everyone's looking for their 15 minutes of fame.
Right. The one guy was chasing a subway train, and he wasn't paying attention. He ran into one of those steel
pole. Yeah. I saw the other angle on that, too.
Did he get hurt? I don't think he got hurt.
Well, it's a wonder he didn't lose his arm off from what I saw, because someone was on the platform.
Okay.
It looked like it was a subway car at a high speed line, one of the two. And he was running down, and you see him collide into it, and then he falls down, and he's laying like right on the edge.
Jesus.
Like another couple of inches, and like he could have lost an appendage.
Wow.
I just saw that like an hour ago. It says another angle of what I think I saw it on the Twitter. Because I got an alert and I was like, oh, okay. What was this all about?
So Twitter's fired up there. Like, this is some of the tweets coming out of Minnesota. I'm signing up to be an Uber driver just for the Super Bowl. It'll be fun dropping all the Eagles fans off in random wrong places. Hashtag skull. I don't understand that skull thing. I know it's their cheer, but whatever. Here's another one. Or let's give them the Minnesota cold shoulder and deny them services at any restaurant, bars, or cafes. Hashtag ban Eagles fans.
Guess what? Money talks.
Bullshit walks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You get a herd of like 30 fans, regardless of whatever team, and they want to drink and eat, they're going to let them in and they're going to serve them.
So here's the story out of Minnesota. Minnesota Vikings fans won't let their Philadelphia Eagle counterparts pass through the town unscathed. Eagles fans are expected to descend on Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota next weekend ahead of the Super Bowl, which will take place February 4th. The Viking supporters are organizing mass revenge missions against the Eagles fans for Super Bowl weekend, with the plots representing payback for the rude welcome they received last Sunday in the city of brotherly love before, during, and after the NFC Championship game. One plan involves Viking fans signing up as Uber drivers and dropping Eagles fans at the wrong locations.
That also sounds like a good way for an Uber driver to get his ass kicked.
That's true. You want to see an Uber driver's car get flipped over and set on fire.
Say, you're going to drop us off here? What's going to stop them from, like, jumping up and down on the hood of the car?
Or dragging the guy out and beating his ass.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
Well, you heard the story about Millie. All right, Millie is a 96-year-old.
Oh, they had the 99-year-old Eagles fan and the 99-year-old Viking
Minnesota
fan. Okay.
Right, the Viking fan was named Millie, and guys were carrying this banner down the Broad Street saying "Fuck Millie."
Oh. See, that's just lower than whale.
It is wrong. It really is wrong. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but I am.
That's somebody's grandmother and
Sure
great-grandmother.
Right. There are some spots they deserve being dropped off as hashtag for Millie. They say it's pretty funny. Under another mission in which Vikings fans plan to throw things at Eagles fans will almost certainly cross the lines of decency. Organizers deleted or hid Facebook event postings, but here are the descriptions per the Daily Snark. We are rallying and tossing stuff at anyone with anything Eagles on to show them the same hospitality that they showed our fans and team in Philadelphia. Skol! Got a lot of unneeded junk sitting at your house. Stop by with it and toss it until your heart's content. We will be giving prizes to the person with the most bullseyes, as well as throwing purple paint bombs to make their ugly, feathery turquoise jerseys the right color. Dress in full Vikings gear. All you need is some folding chairs, a cooler with beer, and some good arms. Skol. This is our city. Good luck, Minnesota.
Sounds like a lot like sour grapes.
Yeah, it is.
And also, the better revenge that they would have gotten is if they were just extremely nice to the Eagles fans when they got there, because they would have got so much more mileage out of that. Like,
yeah. So it's really weird. I mean, not that
it's like the old turn the other cheek kind of a.
Yeah, maybe it's me. I've never really wanted to go to another stadium to go see an Eagles game or a Phillies game or anything like that. We have home games. That's why they're here. Why do I want to go into somebody else's territory?
Well, with football, it makes sense. There's only 8 home games.
That's true.
It's a short season.
Right.
Basketball, hockey, baseball, long season. You can fit in a few games if you wanted to go.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the Eagles fans. They're very, very passionate. They travel well.
Mm-hmm.
In other words,
they are. I did remember reading the Philadelphia Eagles fans are the most heavily represented in other stadiums. They go everywhere. They take over stadium. What was it, L.A.?
They did the L.A. Chargers stadium.
They took that stadium right over.
And they also did the same thing at the stadium for the Los Angeles Chargers, the big stadium in Los Angeles. They took that stadium over too. They also went to Giants Stadium because the Giants were so bad that the Giants ticket holders were just selling them on StubHub for like a dime or a dollar.
That's not the Meadowlands anymore. They call it now. It's what the
I can't remember the name.
Was it the Met Stadium?
MetLife
Stadium,
something like that. And the Eagles, they were so loud in Giants Stadium that they actually made the Giants jump off sides because they couldn't hear the count.
That was a great game.
Yeah,
who my 2 favorite teams are.
No.
The Eagles and whoever's playing the Giants.
See, Now
I
that's
hate the Giants.
I hate the Dallas Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys don't offend me.
Really?
No.
See that I can't
don't.
stand the Cowboys.
It's
And the
Giants
Giants the Giants don't really offend me. The same thing with the Redskins. They don't really offend me, but I can't stand those Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that it never really bothered me.
Hmm.
It's like the bandwagon year fans somewhat do. But the last company I worked for, they used to sponsor the Giants because it was a New York company.
I got you.
And whenever they score a touchdown, it was always broadcast, give that man a Nat Sherman, for the Nat Sherman cigars.
Okay.
I got hired right after the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. And
Okay.
That was in 2005, February of 2005. So they make you stand up. I'm in there in the class, and they make you stand up and introduce yourself. That round robin bullshit. And
right.
everything. I mean, it was a great company. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to get the wrong idea. I had a great time there. But this was my first official day there.
Pushing cancer. Go ahead.
Right. And people are standing up there, and they're saying, well, I'm a so-and-so fan. I'm from South Jersey. Unfortunately, my team didn't win the Super Bowl. Now thinking that they lost to the Patriots and you're in New York, you figured you get some player. Oh, thank God, goddamn Eagles! I was like, wow. So there was no Twitter or Facebook back then, but every time the Eagles beat the Giants, when I worked for that company, I would always mass email that picture of Chuck Bednarik knocking Frank Griffey on his ass in the 1960 game.
Frank Gifford, right?
Frank Gifford, yeah. Right. And and they would get all upset and butthurt. I still do that on Facebook occasionally. So.
My biggest thing is Eli Manning always has that horse face. When he's losing, he always has that Eli face.
The sad face.
Yeah, the real sad face. And I love Eli face. So whenever he's got the Eli face, I always get a screenshot of that. And Eli face. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting. I'm psyched for the Super Bowl. I know.
I'm just glad that they got there.
Right.
Now, the next step is the biggest step. Because last year when Atlanta was winning 28-3 at halftime.
Yes.
And the Patriots came back and won.
Right. That was a disgrace.
It's just like, man, I mean, I say what you want about the Patriots. Well, they are the cheatingest team. And, did I say that? But yeah, they do find a way to win. Well,
my thing is that I don't think this team's going to let up. Like Peterson against Minnesota, he just kept pouring on the coals. Mm-hmm. He just did not give up.
I think Minnesota beat themselves. And this has happened, I think, 8 times before where a team had the chance to play in their own stadium during the Super Bowl, and it's never happened.
Right.
It's never I think on Minnesota's end, they had so much pressure to pull that off. And unfortunately, they had to come through Philadelphia for that noise level was like unbelievably loud.
They said when the Case Keenum threw that one interception that they ran back for a touchdown, people that were in the stadium, the press, from all over, like the national press, said they've never heard such a loud ovation, like deafening, that when he ran that in for the touchdown. It was amazing.
And as loud as that was, could you imagine how much louder it would have been in the vet?
Yeah, because the vet used to hold the sound.
Yeah, it was underground. The playing field was below ground, like 20 feet or something. It was like a big bowl. So.
Right. So it's amazing. And again, the link isn't really that conducive for holding sound.
Pretty open.
It's open on both ends.
Yeah.
So for them to be that loud.
What does that stadium seat? What's the capacity? I don't even know.
68,000.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's not much. This week, because my kids are starting to get into football now, like my youngest.
Osmosis?
I guess. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go.
What happens if they become Dallas fans?
I will disown them. No. I told a story about what happened.
A logical conclusion? I will just disown them.
I told a story about.
I unchild you?
Yes. When my kids are huge animal lovers. So when Michael Vick was signed by the Eagles, my 3 girls march up to me and they go, "Dad, that's it. If Michael Vick's an Eagle, we're Dallas Cowboys fans." And I looked them square in the eye and I said, "Get out." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "What?" I go, "Get out. Pack your bags and get out. There will be no Dallas Cowboys fans that live in this house. Pack your bags and out." They went, "Mom!" And she comes out, "You can't say that to them." I said, "You can pack your bags and get out too. There will be no Cowboys fans in this house."
Just for siding with them.
That's right.
Just for siding.
Out.
Putting on those mommy blinders.
Exactly. So, yeah, no Dallas Cowboy fans in this house. Absolutely. Hey, you know what would look good on you listeners? I'll tell you what. A Brand X t-shirt or a hoodie. All you have to do is go to brandxpodcast.com/gear, and you can see the unbelievable amount of shirt styles and colors. Not only will you get a stylish shirt, but you also help support the show. We would appreciate it. So just go over to brandxpodcast.com/gear. Check it out.
Check it out now.
So I have a Twitter troll.
Yeah, I seen all that. What's your theory? You said you had a couple of theories.
I have some theories. Well, so the guy's name is Little Orphan Angry.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say it the other way. I was going to say Little Angry Orphan.
Or either. Yeah. Little Orphan Angry.
Okay. It's a great avatar.
It's a great avatar. And he's got like 600 followers. Maybe he's got, I forget, 300 followers. I forget how much. I thought he had a lot more followers than he does. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, he comes out and he's making all these memes with my head on them. So let me talk about the theories. Because you know how you say someone's living rent-free?
In your head.
This guy is living rent-free in my head. Mm-hmm. And he's been, because I can't figure out who he is. I have a feeling that I know him.
Okay.
So at first, I thought it was you.
But really?
I thought it was you. And
I had nothing better to do.
Well, okay, so that's one check for the con, right?
I have nothing better to do.
Right.
Okay, so why did you think it was me? Now I'm intrigued.
Okay, so the reason I thought that it was you was because last episode that we recorded, I was talking about the weight loss, the contest between me, Daniel Repulse, and Dave from Bad Cop. And I said, you know, at any time with Photoshop, I could have my head on an extremely fat person's body. Before the episode came out, my head was on two really fat bodies. And I thought,
grossly obese.
Right. Even more than me. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something. So I'm thinking to myself, the only person that could do that would know about that, is you, because you were the only other one in the room. Never said anything to anybody else. So I said that was, so I thought it was you. Because they really know a lot about this show. And they really know a lot about me.
See, now I thought, okay, I think it is someone that is a Who's Right listener.
Okay.
That must cross-check between both shows.
Okay.
Because I think Doug and Anthony, but he also tagged Bad Cop.
And he also tagged, like, Bernie Sanders
yeah,
and someone else. So who...
You pointed that out to me because I wasn't even paying attention to who he was tagging until you texted me that one.
But whose MO on Twitter was to take something and just tag a bunch of famous people in it? Anthony from Who's Right.
Okay.
All right. So then I thought, maybe it was Anthony. The only person that he's never attacked is Doug from Who's Right. So I thought it was Doug from Who's Right because Doug has the Photoshop skills.
Right.
Although Doug's Photoshop skills are a little bit better than this guy's.
Mm-hmm.
So
but that could be a way to throw dust in your eyes.
See, see, there's all kinds of stuff.
He is living rent-free in your head.
Rent-free.
I can tell you it is not me.
So
unequivocally, it is not I.
So then I go.
What about Jerry and Dave? Because they talked about the diet before ours aired.
Okay, maybe. But I don't know if they have Photoshop skills. I don't know if they have those kind of Photoshop skills.
But they have people that do. Because remember, they always would put something together.
I don't know that. You know who the guy was Matt Mellner, who is from the Ped Miller show. Mm-hmm. He was their Photoshop guy.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Matt would go after me. Me and Matt are kind of mates, you know what I mean? A little bit. I don't think Matt Mellor would go after me like that. So, okay, so let me get back to this. So, now, so I got a troll. So I'm like, oh, okay, look, I got a troll. Look at me. I have a Twitter troll. Mm-hmm. So
now you're like Dr. Jen.
Yeah, I'm like Dr. Jen Kuntner. Oh, I got a story about her too. Yeah. So then all of a sudden I sign on and there's this guy who's got to be like 600 and something pounds. I mean, he's naked. He's on this pee pad.
He's naked.
He's got a roll of toilet paper over his shoulder. I was like, so I opened up. I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. Because it's got my name tag, it's got my head on it, my face on them. I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm like, and I don't know what it was, but every time I went on Twitter, I saw that picture. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I got to figure out who this guy is. So I went to Twitter and I reported him.
Did you? You got him.
And I think I got him bounced for a little while. He got a Twitter timeout. I think it was like a week because Doug from Who's Right was like, "Oh, you're such a sissy. I can't believe
you
it.
Got balls,
you
man.
got balls after all that shit you did."
Yeah, exactly. You big fucking baby, you big...
Absolutely. I was like, I tried to smoke him out. I figured sooner or later the guy would, he would drop his guard. He would leave a clue or something like that.
I think he's just. It sounds like he's just someone that listens to. I think he's a Who's Right fan.
Well, he follows me and I follow him.
Right.
The little orphan angry.
And he's following me.
Okay, so then
I followed him before he started all that. See, this guy was fucking shrewd.
Wait a minute. So I DM'd him. And first I said, Jerry. Then I went, Dave. And he never answered me. He's never answered me. The only person that I know that he's answered is Doug from Who's Right.
Mm-hmm. He answered Doug.
Right. So I think it's Doug. And I think Doug's trying to throw me off by saying different things. Because he's never answered me. And I don't know if anybody else he's answered. Well, I don't know if anybody else he's talking,
Because on Sunday, they dropped their new episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Doug... and just a message out to Little Orphan Angry, whoever you are, could you please go after this person? I was like,
and they did.
Yeah,
they did.
So it was just like, so that kind of like really tilted the Frank Capra arrows to it's a Who's Right fan.
Right. Well, of course. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, if it isn't Doug, maybe it's a bunch of people together. It's a consortium of people.
Oh, it's a conclave.
Right, exactly, where they're all together trying to figure out how to fuck with me. So after this...
So who is in this cabal of Twitter trolls?
I think it's Dave, the producer, Jerry from Bad Cop, and Doug from Who's Right. That's what I think.
That's the cabal.
I think that's it. So then I think Doug's trying to throw me off the trail. He's trying to give me a red herring and throw me off the trail. So I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Yeah. So anyhow, I guess after the band he got on Twitter, he came back with a vengeance, Little Orphan Angry. And he put up a couple pictures. I knew he was making them. He must have been, I can't wait. So he came out with some. So then I'm thinking, and Doug's saying, you know what? Don't go after this guy. You should be embracing him, or this. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I, an idiot? Like, that's not me. I don't sit there and just say, oh, well, look at me.
See, this is precisely what your problem is. It's
exactly.
Because he knows that.
Exactly.
You said that over and over again.
Exactly.
And he knows. He has figured out how to put a burr under your saddle.
Exactly. And then what he'll do is
It is genius.
It is genius. I'm not going to lie. It's amazing. Because what he's doing is he's hitting every pressure point, like everything that he knows will get under my skin. He's doing it. Like, he's like, okay, well, listen, fat boy, I'm going to leave you alone for a while. I'm going to go listen to a real podcast, Who's Right podcast, and then he puts hashtag, you're a coattail surfer. And I'm like, coattail surfer? Are you fucking kidding me? So I don't know what's going on with him. But anyhow, my thing was, I was like, okay, the gloves are off now. So I went after him. I did. I went after him.
Reported him to Twitter.
No, I didn't report. I'm not going to report him to Twitter anymore. I figured reporting him from Twitter would smoke him out.
Right.
Like, I figured I would get somebody to say something, and it didn't work. I'm not going to report him to Twitter anymore. But
Facebook is another.
No, I'm just saying I don't know who he is.
Is he doing that on Facebook too? Because I'm like in a social media blackout.
Well,
right now.
I know. Well, see, the thing about Facebook, you can't just sign up as Little Orphan Angry. You can't really be anonymous on Facebook. No, because on Facebook, you have to have your name and stuff like that. They don't let you be anonymous. They find out.
There's a lot of people I know that have changed their names and they're not even.
I understand that, but
you did it just recently. You changed your name.
Well, remember when I did it on Facebook? I remember I went Johnny Be Good.
Yeah,
and then I think I changed it right back. We have to wait 60. Once you change your name on Facebook, you have to wait 60 days. I just did it as a joke.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have changed their names completely.
So, but it's funny because like I'll go on. It's like now when I open Twitter, I'm like. You open it like, you hold it out. You're like, oh, what's happening here? Or you go to the.
But how many followers does he have? Like a lot?
Oh, you're going to make me look him up.
Well, you know why? Because, see, that's what makes me think he's established himself because of, like, if he only had like 5 listeners and started, or 5 followers, and started trolling you, then you could like kind of figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know?
But he has a shitload of followers.
Right. So and before that, he was very. Oh, that was the other reason why I thought it was you, was because he was very pro-conservative, very pro-Trump.
Well, he's clearly brilliant.
Now he's
pro-Trump. Oh,
well, I don't.
I voted for the guy, but I don't agree with him.
Right. Well, then we could talk about a little bit about that too. This motherfucker. So I'm looking immediately.
What, he got you?
No, he says, "Oh, trying to listen to Brand X. Brand X podcast sounds like it's got two kids with two cans with a string between it." Like, you motherfucker. So now he's got me in a wrestling match. He's got like in a chokehold, and I'm sitting there with this stupid look on my face.
Is that the pillow pants one?
No, that's another one. Let's see. How many followers does he have? Oh, he only has 230 followers, but that's still.
Yeah, that's pretty substantial.
Yeah, right. And he only has 148 tweets, and he was tweeting before the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he just started and then started hammering us. He was tweeting before the show.
Unless he's got multiple Twitter accounts like somebody else in the room does.
Oh, yeah. I know. Trust me. It's not lost on me.
Is the irony lost on you either?
I think the ones that I turned him in on are off of here. I'm just doing a quick scroll.
What the hell did he say?
The one where he had me in the chair, the big guy.
Oh,
in the
okay.
chair. I think he had. Let's see if that's still here. I think if you're going to do that, if you want to get back on again, you got to take that. You got to delete the post.
Right.
Yeah, that's off of here. So the ones that I turned them, the ones that I reported him for,
deleted it. Now he's back.
Yeah, so I guess he had to delete it, and now he's back. He's putting stuff in here, Bud Light, and it's got the Eagles can. Finally, a beer that won't leave any rings on your table. I mean, these are all
wow.
Right.
He must listen to all the shows.
Right. And then he had a picture of me, the guy from the Goonies.
I've never seen that movie.
And then it's just got a Superman shirt on. He's got Twitter troll on there. And I actually use that in the cover art.
Yeah, I know.
And he's like, "Oh, what are you stealing my cover art?" I'm like, "Hey, you know what? Anybody else that has a podcast that uses their fans' cover art?" I mean, I thought that was I thought I was being nice.
Mm-hmm.
But he's
marking bit of an olive branch.
Right. And then there's a Beautiful Mind with John and Deuce. John trying to figure out his BMI. There's like all this stuff on the background. Oh, you're wrong.
Oh,
see, they're funny.
Yeah.
They're funny, and I like I said, they're good. I mean, I don't mind them. It's just I don't even know why I'm putting this out here, because the next thing you know, my head will be on all kinds of fat bodies now. But anyhow,
you just spent 23 minutes
doing this with him. Yeah, like he's like, oh, look what John did. He put he used my lazy enough that Deuce steals. Oh, he said Deuce steals my artwork, and John is still fat. And I said, and I replied to him, no, Deuce didn't steal it. I stole it.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
Well, you don't really,
yeah,
you're not really on Twitter. So anyhow, I have a troll.
I'm pretty much on the news, like I said, blackout on
right.
social
You've
media.
had enough.
Yeah, I'm much happier.
It's calmed you down?
What's that?
Not being on, on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that?
It's pretty damn toxic at times.
You know something? I kind of agree with you. And saying that, you know what you guys should do, if you would? Go to Facebook and like our Brand X Facebook
Not
page.
that I'll see it, because I'm
Not that Deuce will see it. He doesn't care. I don't know. I don't let this stuff bother me.
Evidently it is.
Well, I mean, that stuff there. But, I mean, the other stuff, like in the news. Like, again, we had another Saturday, No Sandwich Saturday. All the women were out protesting. I have no idea what they're protesting. What are they protesting? They're getting slighted. How? I still don't understand. That whole, we want equal pay for equal work. They're getting that. What else is it? The Me Too thing?
Yeah, they're just trying to drive a narrative like last year. And I was listening to Shapiro, and the numbers were way down
this year
versus last year.
I
think only one. I think Chicago is the only one that really kind of had a big turnout, which makes sense because that's the Feckless Wonder's hometown. So.
Right, but then again, the only person that really making money on this is the person that sells the pussy hats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I thought those were bad now.
What, the pussy hats are bad?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because that was in the news a couple of weeks ago that they want to stop them from wearing that because it's insulting to transgender people.
Oh, they're pussy envy.
Yeah.
You can't have pussy envy.
Yeah. So
right.
You have to make everyone happy. Evidently, the memo didn't go out in time for the
So they were still wearing their pussy hats.
for the No Sandwich Saturday march.
Right. Yeah, because I would imagine that if you wanted a pussy but didn't have a pussy,
Right.
the pussy envy would be, oh my God, that must be horrible. Could you imagine?
Yeah, drive you to drink.
Right. You're sitting there, you know, you're ready to sit down to pee, but you don't have to. Although you could tuck and pee if you wanted to. But then,
If you're so tired if you're a man that you have to sit down in the morning and pee.
right.
Which a friend of Joe's said that one time. Oh, I sit down and pee. So they were like, what? Oh, in the morning I'm so tired. I just have to it was like, how fucking tired can you be that you just got out of bed, you walked to the bathroom, and then you sit down and go to the bathroom?
Well, I've sat down a few times because.
Were you drunk?
No.
Or sick?
No.
Were you tired?
No, I'm just like you're groggy and everything, and the aim is not that well. Like you just sometimes you hear it. You're waiting to hear water, but you're not hearing water, and you're like, well, where's that going?
A,
I should turn on the light.
You shouldn't even confess to something like that. And B, you just got done talking about Little Angry Orphan or whatever the fuck his name is.
They're just giving them all kinds of ammunition, right? Listen, I'm being honest. I mean, every once in a while, if it's late at night or something like that, I'm not going to turn the light on and wake myself up.
Really, really sick.
Really?
Or debilitatingly hungover. I'll do the lean, but I'm not sitting down. Big ass handprint on the wall.
There's nothing worse than taking a big frothy piss, and then when you let it go, you don't hear water. You're like, fuck, where's that going? All of a sudden, your eyes are open then. I'll tell you that right now.
Your feet getting wet?
No, not usually.
You're not hearing water, but your feet are getting wet.
Right, so you're like, where is that going?
That's a clue as to where it's going.
Have you ever done the thing where you've slept walk and got up and peed in a hamper?
No, but I know people that have done that.
I've done that. Yeah. I've got up in the middle of the night, walked over, and you hear my girlfriend going, hey, what are you doing? What? You're peeing in a hamper. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. And then you got to try to get into the bathroom.
I can sleep pretty much anywhere. It's like a gift.
Right.
But I don't sleepwalk, and I don't.
I
don't have any toilet mistaken identities. Like,
no,
that looks
like that.
Open up a drawer, piss into it. So no, I've never done that. You might have a problem if.
Please! I know I have a problem. Well, I don't know about you. As we're getting older, I can't really sleep through the night. I have a hard time. Like I sleep 3 hours at a time, then I wake up. And, maybe
I
I'm
only
up for an
sleep
hour.
about 4 hours anyway.
Well,
so
right. Yeah, so sometimes that's the same thing with me.
I get up absurdly early for work.
Right.
So.
And then the other thing is, for me is, I'll go to bed at midnight and I'll wake up at 4:35 and then I'm up. And I can't get, so what I've been doing now is I don't fight it. I just get up and do the thing. Yeah. But at 2 o'clock or 2:30 or something, I'm exhausted.
That's when I get up.
That's in the morning.
I'm talking about 2:30 in the morning.
I'm talking about in the afternoon.
You mean in the afternoon after?
Yeah,
you take naps or nothing?
I started to. Yeah, I take naps.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of naps.
Oh yeah, I was like,
can't do it at work, but it'd be awesome.
One of my biggest things now is the truck nap. I love the truck nap.
What? Wait, you get in your truck and take a nap?
Get in my truck, I take a nap.
What? Your bed's broken?
No, I like the. I'll tell you, for some reason, my truck is more comfortable than my bed. That's the truth. I don't know what it is. So what I do is I take the phone, I plug it in, I get a nice podcast or something, rock the seat all the way back. I got a little blankie in there. It's the perfect angle, and out I go.
Where do you go?
What do you mean? Where do I go?
Do you drive somewhere
I sleep right out there.
Right there in the yard.
Right in the yard.
Oh.
What's wrong with that? Where am I going to drive somewhere and fall asleep in my truck?
I thought maybe you'd go to a park or something. At least it'd be nice scenery. It's very pastoral.
What do you think I'm going to be sitting there? And the guy's like, are you dead? Sitting there, my mouth open. You pulled up one time, I was taking a truck nap. You're like, he's dead. Yeah. What do we do now?
Yeah. I just figured you just ran out of steam. Just barely made it.
That's why I call the truck the redneck lawn chair. Every time I say something now, all of a sudden I see this meme from Little Orphan Angry.
Now you're all paranoid.
Just give this guy way too.
He's probably got a stenographer.
Wait a minute. How funny would it be if Little Orphan Angry was Carl from Who Are These Podcasts? Now that would be funny. Now that's a high five. If that was him, that's a high five. It started right around when
the timeline.
The timeline is starting to match up. How about that?
a pretty compelling hypothesis.
Interesting.
Makes more sense that it would be someone.
And if it
someone
is,
just has it in for you.
And if it is, I'm sure that Doug's feeding him all kinds of information. You know what he doesn't like? You know what he doesn't like? He doesn't do this.
He's a big Eagles fan.
Oh, yeah,
he's a big Eagles.
Oh, he hates it when people talk about the audio quality of his show. Yeah, you know what? Tell him he's a coattail rider. He'll love that.
Tell him he's a hack.
Jesus Christ.
Someone that's listening because he did take a shot at Anthony with the pizza.
They said, see, now I said that to Doug, and Doug said, no, that's not because they talked about the pizza.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest things. They said, listen, if dick tasted like pizza, would you suck dick? And I'm like, I don't see how that is even
I can tell you right now, I would not.
I would not. Exactly.
But, you were a little hesitant there.
No,
John.
what I meant to say was, I don't know. How would you know? How would you know that
I don't care.
Dick tastes like pizza?
I don't care
Unless
what it
you're
tastes
right.
like. It's
exactly.
Dick. I ain't eating that.
Then they say, well, what if pizza tastes like dick? And I'm like, how would I know?
Still not a dick.
Right. I don't know. If pizza tastes like dick, I wouldn't know. So I couldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
These are the questions that keep you awake at night. No wonder you can't sleep.
So if pizza tastes like dick, when I still like pizza.
No wonder you're exhausted when you wake up. Tossing and turning thinking of that.
Oh, it's ridiculous. So my girlfriend, Dr. Jen Guntner, I got blocked again from another account that I had because I couldn't take it anymore.
How many accounts do you have?
I can't remember. Well, I have like 10 Twitter accounts.
I'm down to 10. I better make another few more because I know I'm going to get blocked on these.
Let me see if I can find this real quick.
Maybe it's Dr. Jen Guntner. Did you ever think of that?
Nah, she's not that smart.
Could be one of her minions.
So Dr. Jen Guntner. So now women are after men who are into sexual coercion. So in other words, if you try to persuade a woman to, I don't know, woo a woman or something like that, or she's like, well, I don't think I really want to do that. And you're like, could we? Again, there's clues. There's nonverbal clues. There's verbal clues. Mm-hmm. There's things that you see. I can understand. If you don't want to,
we're not that far away from a guy just asking a woman out on a date and he's a pervert.
What do you mean
with this movement? I mean, it's just like they keep moving the goalposts.
I understand that. If you just even say to her,
that's what I'm saying. Right. You're like, hey, would you like to go out sometime? Oh,
you pervert.
Right, yeah. I mean, we're not that far removed from that.
So the doctor said something about coercion. And then a couple guys had said something to her about, well, haven't you ever tried to convince somebody to do something? And she said, not to have sex, dude. And then I, of course, chime in. You sure? Not even with that dude that told you your vagina smelled like the shit house on a tuna boat? You believe she blocked me for that?
No,
she didn't. She has not yet. I've said some of the most offensive things to her on the Brand X podcast account, and she has not blocked me. But the other one.
Maybe she listens.
No, I doubt that.
Maybe she is little orphan angry.
Could you see if she was a little... I've offended quite a few people on Twitter.
No.
It could be one of many. I don't know. I'm just saying. But
yeah, it could be like a real life Christmas carol for you. Like the ghost of Christmas past is going to come in and spend the whole night taking you to every person's house on Christmas that you've offended.
The troll of Twitter past.
Yeah.
The troll of Twitter present. Then the troll of Twitter future.
Twitter yet to come.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, Doug's sent me this thing where you can, I forget, it cost me $9 for a month. And you can go in and you can erase all the tweets. Instead of going in each tweet, you can just go in and batch erase them. So the other account that I have,
it's an app?
The one was, it's an app. Where's the website? It's a website. You have to sign in.
Okay.
So the one that I had, which was Technoboy, which I changed to Podcast Tutor.
Okay.
That's what it was.
I have so many of them. You just can't keep them
straight. Can't keep them straight. Yes, there's the Grumpy Podcaster. There's the
Out of Philly or whatever.
The Big Philly Fan. There's the Redneck Lawn Chair. There's a ton of them.
Andy Reid.
There's Coach Andy Reid. That's true. There's Coach Andy Reid. So anyhow, I took the Podcast Tutor, and I was like, I got into that fight with all those people with Dr. Jen Guntner, and I was pretty nasty. And I was like, well, I really don't want to have all that on this Twitter feed. So it cost me $9, and you can, I basically erased 2017, 2016 off of my. If you go to my account, it's like 2018 and 2015. There's like 2 years went away.
Wow, he slipped into a coma then.
Yeah, really. What happened between here and here? I don't know. Coma. Hey, if I can ask you to do one thing for us this week, if you're listening to the show and you like it and you're on Facebook, why don't you go over to facebook.com/BrandXPodcast, and that's where our page is, and you can like the page. We would appreciate that. And that way we have some articles. We're going to start populating that page with more articles and stuff, and if we decide to go to Facebook Live again or anything like that, you will be notified, and we would appreciate that. And it kind of helps us out with the show and gives us more exposure. And also, tell a friend. Doesn't hurt to tell a friend about the show if you're enjoying it.
Spread the word.
Spread the word like butter.
Be Paul Revere.
There you go.
There's a story that broke. Basically, have you heard about the shadow banning?
Yes, I have.
On Twitter?
We were shadow banned.
You were?
Our Brand X podcast account.
Really?
Yes. We were shadow banned.
How do you find that out, that you were shadow banned?
There's a place that you go and you put your podcast, you put your podcast at Brand X Podcast. You put it in there, and it tries to see if you can see your tweets and everything. Mm-hmm. So we were shadow banned.
Wow.
So how you get out of shadow ban? You buy an ad. So it cost me like $15, and I bought an ad to promote a tweet. And once you promote a tweet, they're like, "Well, we got to show them something." Yeah. So they take you out of being shadow banned.
Because in the story that I put in there is basically they're going after conservatives predominantly. They're going after guys like Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire. They'll shadow ban them, and then what that does is you can see your tweet,
but no one sees it on their feed.
No one sees it. And then you're thinking, well, gee, I guess I was wrong on this issue because no one's really responding to this.
Exactly.
Well, the reason no one's responding to it is because no one can see it.
They can't see it.
So
one of the things, the reason I knew we were shadow banned was because, I don't know if you know this, but I have other Twitter accounts.
No.
Yes. So what I did was, all of a sudden, I subscribed or I followed the Brand X podcast one.
And it didn't show up.
And it wasn't showing up. And I'm like, you sucker.
How long ago did that happen? That you found out we were shadow banned?
About a week and a half ago.
I wonder why they shadow banned us.
I think it was right after I told the good doctor that, her vagina smelled like a shithouse on a tuna boat.
Aha, that might be it.
That might be it. So I got...
So...
now I didn't get
not
banned.
only is it conservatives, but it's people that hurl epithets about vaginas smelling like a shithouse on a tuna boat.
Right, that also will get you shadow banned.
Criteria, okay.
I think so.
Google, the most powerful search engine in the world, is now displaying fact checks for conservative publications in its results. No prominent liberal site received the same treatment. And not only is Google's fact-checking highly partisan, perhaps reflecting the sentiments of its leaders, it is also blatantly wrong, asserting sites made claims they demonstrably never made. When searching for a media outlet that leans right, like the Daily Caller, Google gives users details on the sidebar, including what topics the site typically writes about, as well as a section titled Reviewed Claims. Now, that's what I was trying to find earlier. If you click on the Reviewed Claims button, what happens is it gives you a host of people that are vetting these stories out. But they're being vetted by, like, the Huffington Post.
Right.
They're being vetted by MoveOn.org.
Okay.
They're being vetted by, like, far-left websites. And, of course, what are they going to say? Well, these stories aren't true.
Right.
Vox and other left-wing outlets and blogs like Gizmodo are not given the same fact-check treatment. When searching their names, a topics they write about section appears, but there are no reviewed claims. In fact, a review of mainstream outlets as well as other outlets associated with liberal and conservative audiences shows that only conservative sites featured a highly misleading, subjective analysis. Several conservative-leaning outlets like the DC are vetted, while equally partisan sites like Vox, Think Progress, Slate, the Huffington Post, Daily Kos, Salon, Vice, and Mother Jones are spared. Occupy Democrats is apparently the only popular content provider from the end of the political spectrum with a fact-checking section. Big-name publications like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Los Angeles Times are even given a column showcasing all of the awards they have earned over the years. So basically what that does is, and I wouldn't be in favor of this if it was the other way around.
Right.
Because, people have a right to
see the message.
To see the message and,
right.
and make their mind up for themselves.
I agree with you there.
But the way that they're doing this is by having a reviewed claims by your opposition puts out the perception that the conservative viewpoint or the conservative message is just bullshit, but the other people that are making these reviews, that's the truth.
Right.
That this is the real truth, and it skews the message. And this is the kind of thing that conservatives have been screaming about for like 20 years now. And now between the shadow banning from Twitter and then this from Google, now this was from January the 9th. Maybe Twitter's done away with that because it did.
No, they have not.
It's still going on?
Yeah, but again, it's not just. There's a couple reasons.
Not Twitter, Google, rather.
Oh, Google. I don't know.
Maybe Google did away with the reviewed claims portion because I couldn't pull it up on my phone, but it was there 3 days ago.
Okay, so maybe they have done something with it. But to see the thing about Google don't give a fuck. You can't harm Google. They're Google.
Then you got that guy who's suing Google because he got fired.
That's true, too.
Because he's a conservative, because he reported all this stuff.
You know what? They can just pay him off. They can just wait a little while, pay him off.
He's fighting it.
Right, but what I'm saying is they can say, okay, fine. You know what? We'll give you a settlement. All right. You cannot disclose what the settlement is, and then you cannot.
But the point is, notwithstanding their ability to do that, the point is that it's going on, and this guy's coming forward and bringing it to the attention.
I agree with you.
But have you heard about it on NBC, CBS?
Of course not, because they're the same way.
Right.
Like I said earlier in the podcast, we were talking about news and making news and stuff like that. So I'm just going to ask you a couple quick questions, and these are just general questions. So where is, in the United States, where is one of the biggest places that hold a convention? Like if you're going to
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. So if you're going to hold a big convention, one of the places you're going to hold a convention is Las Vegas. It's natural to do that, right? I see a story. It says NRA holding a big convention. Is that really newsworthy?
They have one every year.
Okay.
They have a yearly convention every year.
Just miles away from where 58 people were killed and over 300 were injured in a shooting. We're talking about the Mandalay Bay shooting.
Right.
So the NRA having a convention isn't news. They have one every year.
Right.
And probably, I don't know anything about it, but most likely a lot of times it's in Las Vegas. I don't know if it moves around. I don't know.
It moves every year. It was insane. It was in Philadelphia at once. I went to that
so
one.
It kind of moves around.
It's every year it's in a different city.
Right. And to do these conventions, you have to plan them out
years in advance.
Exactly.
In fact, I don't even think it's in Las Vegas this year. That might be next. Let's find out. You continue with
All right.
your
So
point.
what happened is that they're saying the story is not the NRA is having a convention. They have one every year. They're having it in Vegas, just miles away from where that shooting was. Well, once they have plans and there's a shooting, there's nothing like that. It's not like they said, you know what? We're going to go and have it at Las Vegas. Now, if they were having it at the Mandalay Bay, that's a little touchy.
Okay. Do you know where it's at this year?
No.
Dallas, Texas.
It is.
Yeah.
So again, they were making it sound like, and it was a story that I just saw on one of the news outlets. And I thought to myself, well, I'll tell you what, that's a long way to go to make that the narrative.
Right. Make that point.
Yeah, make that point. So you're telling me that a organization that has a convention every year
in a different city
every year that might have go to a place that would be very attractive to have a convention because of gambling and the shows and all that kind of stuff.
Facilities, look how many rooms there are.
Right, exactly. So you would do that. And I guess they're not, because there was a shooting in Las Vegas, they're not allowed to go to Las Vegas. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But the thing about it is that they went around the block to get to the point where they're having a convention where there was a mass shooting.
Right.
And to me, that's really a non-story.
It is a non-story, especially in fact, of the light of that the actual convention for this year is in Dallas, Texas.
So
guess what? JFK got shot in Dallas, Texas.
Oh my God!
So,
do you believe that?
So we should never have a convention there. So
I'll tell you one place they should never have it is Chicago.
Be the safest places on the convention floor, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. When they had it in Philadelphia, that was quite a few years ago. That was probably 97, 98.
That's when you got your gun safe.
Right. That's where I got the gun safe there. And yeah, there was douchebags out front of the convention center, Philadelphia, protesting. You know, 'cause it's a 3-day event. I went there. You know, there's assholes out there with their signs and
But again, if they want to go out and protest, they don't want to waste their time
and all that. Well, they were heckling people as they're walking. They didn't heckle me because I would have been more than happy to thunder punch one of them in the throat. But
thunder punch.
Oh yeah, it's nothing like a good thunder punch in the throat.
Right.
They go down like a sack of wheat.
Right. And again, oh my God, can you believe the NRA is having a convention in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Of course you can. Where else would you have one?
Any large city that has a lot of hotels, a lot of entertainment, and an infrastructure where people can travel pretty efficiently.
Right, exactly.
Why they came to Philadelphia, I don't know, but
well, the biggest podcasting conference is coming to Philadelphia in the end of July. It's called Podcast Movement, and what's really nice about Podcast Movement is it's the Sheraton right in Center City, and you can get from the airport. You can get on a train.
It's a choo-choo train.
And it'll take you right into underneath the hotel. You don't have to get an Uber or anything else. When they used to go to these other places, like they had it in Los Angeles last year, they had it in Los Angeles. It was like a $40 or $50 Uber ride from the airport.
Oh, yeah, it's a big city.
Into the hotel.
What does Uber even charge? Are they comparable to what taxis charge?
I've never been in an Uber. I've never been in an Uber.
I've never had a desire to get into a total stranger's car and put my hand
and have him drive me around. I don't know this guy, especially
because it's much better to get in the bright yellow cab with the jihadi.
Well, back when I was in an elevator mechanic and I used to work at Center City, one of the hardest things was to get around. So
yeah.
And sometimes I would be up in Center City and somebody which is called Old City, which is like 15 or 20, 15 or 20 blocks away.
That's a hellacious ride.
Okay. So if there was an entrapment, what they would tell you is, listen, if you can't walk, you can't take that long to walk there. So you grab a cab. All right. So guy calls me, says, John, we have an entrapment in this building. Okay. I said, look, I'm going to have to take a cab. They go, okay, because you have to get authorization. So, okay, get a cab. So I get a cab and I say to the guy, hey, listen, I need to go to 2nd and Chestnut. And I'm at like 22nd and Locust.
That's a half-hour drive.
He drives down Locust Street, about 6 or 7 blocks. He gets on Broad Street. He makes a left. He goes about 3 blocks. He stops. I go, what's going on? He goes, oh, this is close enough. I said, close enough? What the fuck? What do you mean? He goes, well, I don't know where.
You're going to make you go 14 blocks?
Right. I don't know where 2nd and Chestnut is. Are you kidding me? You're driving a taxi. You don't know where Chestnut is. All right, listen.
I'll drive.
Yeah. you keep driving. I'll tell you how to get there. So then I get all the way to 2nd Chestnut. I finally get out of the car. And I said, how much? And he tells me whatever it was. I take out some money. And I give it to him. And he goes, no tip? I go, tip? I had to tell you how to get here. Yeah. Get a map. There's a tip. But, I mean, this is the same thing. You get in the car. It's filthy dirty. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, just that whole public transportation shit. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. Proud to say I never had to ride a bus in my life. I always had a car.
I can't remember being on a bus, public transportation bus.
Yeah, never.
I mean, I've rode the speed line.
Yeah, I did that every day going to college.
I took the Broad Street. Okay, so we had to go to a concert. Where were we at? Was it? I know exactly what concert it was. It was the one in 82 that you were at, the Who concert. So instead of
first farewell tour.
Right. So instead of driving there, we had the brainiac idea of taking the speed line over, picking up the
Broad Street line down.
And taking the Broad Street line down. That was a fantastic idea on the way down.
Right.
But when 100,000 people let out of this,
out.
Then you try to get on a train.
Yeah.
So we decided to walk up Broad Street in that heat from
4.8 miles.
Right, all the way up to...
Because that's how far it is to 8th and...
Right.
8th and what market.
So I'm walking. I don't even know where we got to because I wasn't really 100%. By the time I got halfway, I think it was, from walking, you're in shorts and you're sweaty and all that. I had like my thighs were on fire. They were chafed all up. And I finally said, that's it. I want to get a taxi. So we did get a taxi for that. And he took us to 8th and Market and we got on the speed line to go home. But holy cow. And the other guys were like, I'm not paying for a taxi. I said, I'm sorry. I wasn't asking you. Yeah. I'm taking a taxi.
You can walk back.
You can walk back. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll bet they got in the taxi, though.
3 people did, 3 people didn't.
Really?
Yes.
Too proud, huh?
Well, that was really, they weren't thinking because guess who had the keys for the car once they got to
Jackass?
Jackass. Guess who ended up having to find their way home after they walked all the way up and got to the Speedline station.
Right.
Not Jackass.
Oh.
I can't even remember who it was. It was like, I think we went with like 8 people or something like that. 3 of us got in a cab and we got there and I got out and they said, are you waiting for them? Nope. I'm not waiting.
Yeah.
You got your mind?
Adios.
Adios.
Now they're going to take a cab from,
Well, the
from
funny
the
thing,
Lindenwald station to wherever.
well, back then, there was no cell phones or anything like
No,
that.
it's
They had to go to
public
you had to go to get a public phone.
and hope that it worked.
Right. And, so then I think it was like a month later, I ran into one of them. They, hey, you left us at the, I said, I told you to get a cab.
Yeah.
What, you think I'm going to sit there and wait?
Yeah.
I'm not waiting.
That would have been another couple of hours.
Drunk off my ass.
Yeah.
My thighs are glowing. Fuck that.
Yeah,
I'm heading home.
It was a nice day.
It was beautiful,
Yeah.
but still. All right, my friend. I think that's it. I think we need to wrap this up.
If you're looking for some other great independent podcasts to check out, we highly recommend these podcasts. Please support these people because they put out an excellent product and they're swell people to boot. The Evening Radio Podcast with Jason and Mindy, part of the Hush Your Face Network. And also check out their new podcast, The Difference Between Us, with Jason's sister, Stephanie.
And David.
David, her future
Brother-in-law.
Yes. I don't think they've gotten married yet. I found something out in the last podcast.
Which is?
Stephanie and Diane share a birthday.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So,
How about that?
yeah, it's like
Was that which one was
the
that?
latest one.
I don't know if I've listened to it, but I do. I really enjoy
One
it.
about the cell phone.
Yeah. Oh, I did listen to some of that.
Mhm.
I did listen to a lot of that. Well, you know what? I was having a hard time because they were Android users.
So did you go to bail?
Well, I don't know. I was doing a lot of yelling at my radio at the time. And then Jason and Mindy are iPhone users.
Right.
So it was the iPhone against the Androids.
Right.
So, but it was a good show. And I'll tell you what, I know.
It's been a while.
Right. Stephanie is a natural. She picked, got behind the mic and is a natural. So I really do enjoy that podcast. Bad Cop, Jerry and Dave. They just did episode 103.
Yep.
And really, really good show. I'll tell you what, Dave was on fire. This show really showcased Dave. Not that Jerry was a slouch by no means, but I mean, Dave was on fire. He was hysterical and really enjoyed the show.
The Hunan Show with Rocky, BB, Drew, and Josh, also part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Who's Right podcast with Anthony and my Twitter troll, Little Orphan Angry, Doug, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Unwritable Rant with Juliet Miranda. They just dropped a new episode. I just started getting into that one. I like David's descriptions.
Yes.
They intrigue me.
Right.
It makes you want to go right over.
I you know what that episode made me want to do? It made me want to get an auto tune so we could put auto tune on here because you say you can't sing. Right?
I cannot. I can't carry a tune in a bag.
All right. So what if we got an auto tune, put it on your mic?
So I could sing badly into that.
Yeah. So you could sing badly into that and see what it would actually auto tune you to. If I got auto tune, would you sing?
Yeah, I guess I would, but I'm not.
No.
I guess I would do it, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be happy doing it.
You wouldn't like it?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. I mean, it might make you sound. I don't know what it makes you sound like. I have no idea.
Suddenly, I'm going to be Roger Daltrey belting out the, won't get fooled again. That's it.
Well, I heard that Neil Diamond is retiring
Oh, thank Christ.
because he's got the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So
Was he dropping the mic all over the place?
I don't know. He's like, he's probably shaking it.
He was bright-eyed. I hate that song.
He probably knocked like 3 or 4 teeth out.
I know Jerry feels the same way about that goddamn Sweet Caroline.
Well, that's what I heard from. I heard from Jerry. He's like, "Oh my God, Neil Diamond's retiring because he's got the Parkinson's." So him and Michael J. Fox will be having a soup eating contest. I'm just kidding. All right, the Pet and Miller Show. What's that?
Don't let them handle that nitroglycerin.
The Pet and Miller Show with Matt Meller and Viva La Pedros, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Bro-Rons podcast with Big D and Little R, also part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Rob and Slim Show with Rob, Slim, and Sleepy Lucas. And also, I've seen Slambo back every once in a while.
Oh, yeah?
He's in there, yes.
Cameo appearance.
Mm-hmm.
The Horribly Awkward Show with Sean Fuller, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The story behind, she's coming back.
Oh, yeah?
Emily
Good news.
Prokop, yes.
Good news. Not been the same without her. Telling the Trigger with Daniel, Mike, and C3K, Courtney 3000.
And the Tom and Steve Show. I'm really enjoying that show. I just those guys crack me up. This past podcast they did was they were talking about back in the day when they were kids and how they got their weed, and they were all talking about, their stoner days. And to hear Tom talk about smoking marijuana, I don't know. It just cracks me up.
How old are they?
They're early 50s.
So like the same age as us.
Yeah, right around our. I'm older, but yes.
Yeah, well, you're always older.
Right, of course.
Everyone has a podcast with Adam and Brian.
They changed their logo. They're going with a black cloud.
Really?
Yes. They said it's going to be darker.
Okay.
A darker podcast, dark humor. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what that's all about. The Bold and Belligerent podcast with Lauren, Josh, Mike, and Luke.
So you're giving up on Lauren?
No, I'm not giving up on Lauren.
You went right back to Lauren.
I went back to Lauren because Lauren said it was Lauren. I was on Twitter and Jerry said something, Lauren, and I said, I thought it was Lauren. And then Lauren said, nah, it's Lauren. So from now on, it's Lauren, Josh, Mike, and Luke.
Are you sure they're not fucking with you like Little Orphan Angry?
They could be fucking with me.
Maybe Lauren is Little Orphan Angry.
I don't think so. I have no idea now because I don't think Lauren listens to Who's Right that close.
Okay.
And then I'd listened to this other show that I fell in love with. It's two Canadian women in their mid 40s.
Whose show is this?
They podcast inside their car. They sit in their car and they have these conversations. And it's Lisa and Sam. Mm-hmm. And the name of the podcast is I Shake My Head. I've listened to their latest two, and I've been going through the back catalog, and I find them funny. I don't know what it is about their Canadian accents, and I find them funny.
Well, can you tell me what they're all about?
They get in and they just talk about things that are going on in their lives, and they may talk about some TV shows that they're watching. It's really a hodgepodge of topics. Mm-hmm. But they just have this funny way of delivering the information, and I find them funny. They just crack me up. You got to listen to it. I can't really explain it, but I think you would like it.
You don't know until you go.
Right. And then guess who's back? The pizza podcaster. The pizza podcaster's back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he decided, he says...
Didn't he retire?
Well, he did because he was having problems putting all the intros on and all that. He thought that was too much work. So he says, fuck it. I'm just not going to put the intros on anymore.
Right.
Which is fine. You don't need intros.
Yeah.
You can just go and the Lisa and Sam, they don't put intros on. They start the microphone and off they go.
Just crack the mic.
Just crack the mic open and start talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need all that production and all that other crap. I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine.
Who are you and what have you done with John?
I'm just saying there's plenty of ways and styles of podcasting. There's not one right way.
Yeah, it's whatever floats your boat.
To be honest with you, I think they're using lavalier mics inside the car. The car is not a bad sound studio. Mm-hmm. It's sound treated. And with the lavalier mics, they don't sound bad, but they don't have that production value.
What are they recording onto? Just a laptop?
I think they were recording into the iPhone. But
are they actually driving or are they just sitting in the car?
They're sitting in their car. So they would pull up to the Costco or something like that so they could use the free Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And then they had to move to another place because they were out trying to do a podcast. It was 43 below zero Celsius. Like we're
Celsius?
Yes.
43?
Yes. Yes.
That's pretty goddamn cold.
That's pretty goddamn cold.
Celsius especially.
So they had to go to a parking garage that was enclosed where they had like a heater where it was like maybe just like zero or not even zero, maybe like -7 or 8. So they could do a podcast there. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I really do. I like the show. It's a pretty good show. I mean, see, you have an hour commute to work every day, don't you?
Yep.
Do you listen to a podcast to and from or no?
It depends on what's dropped. If I haven't listened to it already,
or you don't
because
music?
Mostly music.
Okay. For some reason, I just don't listen to music anymore. So everywhere I go, I listen to podcasts.
Oh, I would die without music.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Music moves me. I got all these playlists in there now. I got probably about like a zillion songs. All
right. So next week, we'll probably be back with a little bit more show prep, I would think. I don't know. I just wanted to get behind the mic and just have a conversation. So
talking.
Just doing some talking. All right. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor. Tell a few friends. Even share the episode on your social media accounts. See, like when I like a show, like the I Shake My Head show.
The Aboot Chicks?
Yeah, Aboot Chicks. I share it. I share the show. I tell everybody that I like the show. And so if you like our show, please do the same thing. Share it on your social media accounts. It's very easy to do. We are on all these social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/BrandXPodcast, on the Twitter at BrandXPodcast, on Instagram at BrandXPodcast. Just like and follow us and share the show with your friends. We would appreciate it. And we'd also love it if you join in the conversation, like my pal, Little Orphan Angry. You can email us at brandxpod@gmail.com. You can also call into the Times Yours voicemail at 856-322-2473. Leave a message, and we will feature you if anybody ever calls in. We'll make a Times Yours segment just for you. So thank you so much for listening, and come on back next week for another episode of the Brand X Podcast. Will you shut the fuck up so I can end the recording?
That's it. We're just getting into it.